So this video is about DPDR, which I do have. I don't have it like 24/7 like I used to. So I'll try to kind of explain it because everyone explains it differently. So the way when I have it, it feels like nothing around you is real, even though you know it's real, but it just doesn't feel like you're looking at it. It feels like you're stuck in a bubble. Like you want to pop the bubble, but you can't. It's like you can't escape that. Like you're stuck in a room. Like you can see everything around you, but you can't pass the door. That's what it feels like. Well, sometimes. Another way for me to explain it, if I'm looking at like something that's in front of me, it's in front of me, but yet it feels so far away from me. How it's really not there. It feels like it's a poster. I'm looking at the poster. That's what it feels like. When I'm looking at the mirror, if I'm brushing my teeth, washing my face or whatever, it feels like I'm the person inside the mirror looking out at someone that looks like me, like I'm looking at a twin. It doesn't feel like I'm the person outside the mirror. When I'm watching TV, it feels like I'm inside a TV. Like if you're watching like a talk show, you feel like you're actually in the show looking out. Or it feels like you're watching, it feels like you're always watching TV. You know, like everything around you looks like it's so fake that you're watching, everything's like a TV screen in front of you. That's what it feels like. Well, for me, if I'm looking at the sky, and the sky is blue, there's no cloud, it's just completely blue and it's sunny, and I look at it and I'll start to think, am I looking at the ceiling? Am I looking at the ceiling, or am I looking at like at the wall that's painted blue? You know, even though I know I'm not, and I'm looking at the sky that's blue, it feels like it's not really the sky I'm looking at. It's just something that looks like the sky. Sometimes when I'm looking at the floor, it feels like I'm not looking at the floor, like I'm standing on my head. I'm looking at the ceiling. When I'm sitting down, sometimes I don't feel like I'm sitting on a chair. I feel like I'm still standing up. It doesn't feel like I'm on something, you know. It feels like it just feels like you're standing, like you're sitting on air, which is kind of, same time doesn't make sense. It's kind of hard to explain it unless you actually been through it. Even though when you've been through it, it always feels different every time. Well, for me, it always feels different every time. It just depending on the day and how much you're paying attention to your mind. Another example would be like sometimes if I'm looking at like my family, right? If I'm looking at them, sometimes I know they're my family, but at the same time they feel like they're made out of cardboard boxes. I'm looking at them. It's like they're not. They're just like a flat, like an action figure. Like you know, you're looking at something that's made out of plastic. You know, like if I'm looking at trees, plants, whatever, sometimes they look like they're too good to be true. They look like they're made out of plastic. You know, or something that's bright, like my hat is red. Part of my jacket is red, the trims, and then the other half is completely black. If I'm looking at just that bright color and then I'm looking at the black doesn't. Black looks like it's really there, but the bright red looks like it's Photoshop on there. Even though it's a video, it looks like it's not really there. And then there's moments where I feel like, you know, I don't have any brain fog or whatever. Like I know where I am, and then out of nowhere it'll just hit me. It feels like, you know, you're being slapped in the face, and then you're like, well, what happened to me? That's what I feel like at times. And then there's times when walking around my house, I'm like, okay, I know it's my house, but at the same time it feels like I'm not in my house. Like even in my room, I'm here for hours. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm in my room. I mean, I know where everything is, but at the same time, I'm questioning myself. Am I in my room or am I somewhere else? It's just that feeling of not knowing where you are. And it sometimes feels like, you know, when you, like for me, I wear glasses. I only wear when I'm driving or sometimes when I'm using the computer, but not too often. That's what it feels like at times too. And then there's times that I would watch TV, and then I'll turn off the TV, and then my mind would just go blank. I'm like, was I watching TV? Was I doing something else? You know, it's always that thought that sticks to your head. Well, what was I doing? You start questioning yourself about every little thing you do, even though you don't mean to do it. Question yourself, but you always question yourself. And I know I do the same thing, especially when I'm looking around my bedroom. And that's when I start wondering, why am I looking around my bedroom what am I looking at? You know, sometimes I'll look at something for like 5-10 minutes, and I'll ask myself, why was I looking at it? But my DPDR is getting better by not paying too much attention to it, as even though it's not easy for me not to do it, because there's times that I'll still slipping, I'll start doing it, then you can kind of feel the brain fog coming in. It's like, you know, everything goes from like, you know, clear to like everything looks like everything is all cloudy, blurry to you. It's like, you know, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like half asleep, half awake, you're walking around like you don't know where you're at, but at the same time you know where you're going when you need to use the bathroom. That's what it feels like. What kind of helps me, besides trying my best not to pay attention or not like looking around my surroundings, is like if I do feel like my DPDR is getting the best of me and I want to snap out of it, I'll pick something up and look at it. Like for example, my cup weight. If it gets really bad, what happens to me, it will be like, I'll question myself. Am I holding my cup? Am I drinking water or something? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? If I change my am I to I am holding my cup, I am drinking whatever is in my cup, you know, that's when I slowly feel the DPDR going away. It's when I don't question myself. It's when I'm telling myself that I'm doing it. That's when it goes away. For example, if I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I feel like asking myself, am I looking at myself or am I in the mirror? I'll stop and say in my head, yes, I'm brushing my teeth, and no, I'm not the one in the mirror. I'm looking at myself, but I'm not the one in the mirror looking at myself. I'm the person outside the mirror looking at myself. Because if I question myself, once I start questioning myself, that's when it gets really bad. It's not easy for me not to question myself, because I do it all the time, almost all the time. That's when everything starts. That's when my anxiety starts to spike up. Like, you know, my DPDR spikes up, my dizziness, my other symptoms will spike up. Right now I feel kind of, my DPDR is it's on like a scale from 1 to 10. It's about a 7 right now, but it's because I'm talking about it and I'm looking around. You can tell when I have DPDR, or like when I'm spaced out because I can't focus on the camera. When I'm like looking around, like questioning my thoughts, that's when you can tell when I have it. Also, I'm feeling a little lightheaded, feeling a little off balance. Like I feel like I'm swaying back and forth right now, but you know, like looking at my curtains, they look like they're kind of like moving, but they're not. So I'm not even gonna say yes they are. I'm just gonna say my mind. No, that's just how. That's just anxiety. Earlier I was in my backyard for I don't know about 10 minutes. That's when my DPDR got pretty bad. The sky was bright blue and it just got really cloudy out of nowhere. So that kind of made me feel a little bit panicky. And then my DPDR kicked in and it felt like went from like everything went from really bright to really like blurry within a few minutes. That's why I went inside. I did have the urge to run back in, but I just stayed for an extra 5 minutes before I came back in. So I know if I ran back in, it would have made it worse. Even though my legs feel like they were ready to run back in the house, and then my upper body didn't want to move. Another thing that kind of helps me with my DPDR is like besides splashing cold water in my face, what I'll do is I'll just sit still, right, and just focus on like one thing I'm looking at, you know. Like when I'm just looking at my computer, I'll just in my mind I'll say it over and over until my DPDR goes away. I'll just say, I'm looking at my computer, I'm looking at my computer. I'm not gonna say in my mind like, am I looking at it? You know, like right now there's an airplane flying by, I can hear it. Well, I can't see it because my curtains are closed on one side, but I can hear it, and then I feel my DPDR getting pretty strong. I'll just say, I can hear it. I can hear an airplane flying by, so I know I'm really here. Versus like telling myself, is that an airplane I see? Is that an airplane I hear? Is that I am versus it's like if I'm saying I hearing it versus I am. That's what gets me. Like when I'm questioning myself over and over, that's when I start losing my thoughts. Like all my thoughts will start going like, oh, he's confused. Let's confuse him even more, you know. But yeah, my DPDR is it's not as bad as it used to be. I can tell days that it does get really bad, but well, I can't say days. I mean, I can't say like it's really bad all the time, but I say about 80% of the time it's not really that bad, and then you know, like 10% is like on and off throughout the day, and then 10% will be like, you know, it's there as soon as I wake up, and it doesn't go away till I fall asleep. So, but I can never say it's 24/7 because when I'm sleeping, you know, I wouldn't really know. I wouldn't really think about it because I'm dreaming. But then there are times that when I'm dreaming and I'm talking about DPDR inside my dream, that's when I can say it's 24/7, because why am I talking about when I'm sleeping? And then I'll wake up and then I'll have it, and then I'll think, was I dreaming or was I awake? That's the only time. But other than that, I can't say I have it for 24/7. Sometimes my dreams just seem too real, and then like when I'm awake and it seems fake. So it's like my dream seems too real to me versus like when I'm awake. So I'll start questioning myself. Did I have a dream inside my dream, inside my dream, inside my dream? Or was I really awake all this time thinking I was dreaming? No. Sometimes I'll daydream. Like there were times I'll be eating and then out of nowhere I'll just be like daydreaming. Another thing is like for me, my DPDR spikes up like around lunch and dinner, especially when I'm eating. Sometimes I'll ask myself, not that I want to, I'll start thinking, am I eating? Am I feeding someone else? Is someone feeding me? Because sometimes I'll feel like I'm not holding the spoon, even though I am. It feels like my fingers are going right through the spoon. It's like I'm holding something that's not really there, but I can see it. You know, it's like I'm doing this right now. I'm not holding it. Then I don't know where I'm holding something. That's what it feels like. It's like how they get on my hand.